It's 4 in the afternoon on Wednesday, October 1st. Here in Korea, live from Seoul, I'm Laah Hyun-kyung. We begin at the National Assembly, where lawmakers have finally broken through months of parliamentary gridlock. This comes after striking a deal Tuesday night on the contentious ferry legislation. Now, bills are being reviewed today as well, but our Ji Myung-kil reports the regular session still has a long way to go.
The National Assembly, after being gridlocked for months over a bill designed to investigate the causes of April's ferry disaster, is back in business. Their first act on Tuesday night, after reaching an agreement on the special legislation, was to pass 91 bills. Lawmakers from the rival parties returned on Wednesday morning to open sessions of parliamentary standing committees and began reviewing hundreds of pending bills. Over the next month, they will conduct parliamentary audits of government offices, pass series of anti-corruption bills, and finally push through the one piece of legislation that has kept the rival parties at odds since the spring, the Seoul ferry bill. Tuesday's agreement ends the standoff at Parliament, but not the controversy. The representatives for the families of Danon High School students killed in the April ferry tragedy have voiced their strong opposition to the deal reached by the ruling and opposition parties. It's essentially the same agreement made on August 19th, although the rival party floor leaders agreed to add another clause. That clause states that both rival parties will jointly recommend 4 independent counsel candidates to President Park Geun-hye, who will choose one of them to lead the fact-finding committee in charge of investigating the ferry disaster. The option of allowing the victims' families to participate in the process will be discussed later on. The victims' families have been firm in saying they want more power in the nominating process. While the National Assembly is back at work, the actions of the lawmakers over the coming weeks and their ability to move beyond their differences over recent months will determine whether parliamentary affairs truly are normalized. Ji Myung-kil, ARIRANG News.
President Park Geun-hye says thank you to the nation's soldiers while also reminding them that it's the military's role to contribute to a peaceful reunification of the two Koreas. The comments came during a commemoration ceremony this morning. Our Son Jung-in has more.
South Korea staged a massive ceremony on Wednesday to honor the military on its 66th Armed Forces Day. At the military headquarters in Daejeon, President Park Geun-hye started her speech by describing the current security situation on the Korean peninsula. She said the North had been raising tensions in the region while pursuing the development of its nuclear weapon and missile programs. She then urged Pyongyang to join Seoul's efforts to build trust and lay the groundwork for the potential unification of the divided Korean peninsula.
북한은 핵이 남북관계 발전에 가장 큰 걸림돌임을 직시하고 하루속히 핵을 포기하고 국제사회의 책임 있는 일원이 되어야 합니다.
President Park also said the North's human rights violations should be addressed, an issue she placed emphasis on recently at the UN General Assembly. She added that this must start with South Korea's military, which should lead as a role model of human rights. She also urged the military to look inward, referring to a series of deaths blamed on bullying, harassment, and assaults of junior enlisted soldiers by their seniors in barracks.
이제 우리 군은 과거의 잘못된 관행과 적폐를 바로잡아서 새로운 정의의 강군으로 거듭나야 합니다.
President Park stressed that love and trust of the people is important for making a strong military and promised to do her utmost to improve the welfare of soldiers and their service environment. Son Jung-in, ARIRANG News.
The top U.S. envoy on North Korea policy, Glyn Davies, was in Seoul on Tuesday. After talking with his South Korean counterpart, he spoke to reporters and pointed out what he thinks is North Korea's biggest problem. Our Hwang Sung-hee reports.
U.S. Special Representative for North Korea policy, Glyn Davies, says the biggest problem with North Korea is that it's not listening.
North Korea is not talking to any of us. It's not listening to any of us. And this is, I think, not the way to resolve the problems that that we all face, including North Korea.
Visiting Seoul on a three-nation Northeast Asia trip on Tuesday, Davies met with his South Korean counterpart Hwang Jung-guk and Foreign Minister Yoon Byung-se on ways to re-engage North Korea. The U.S. diplomat said Pyongyang has also turned a deaf ear to Washington's request to release 3 American detainees.
We've sought to engage them. We've sought to dispatch senior officials to Pyongyang to talk to them. North Korea has chosen to reject our offers. I think that's a shame. That's a lost opportunity.
While the refusal to talk greatly contradicts North Korea's recent show of enthusiasm for diplomacy, Davies said North Korean Foreign Minister Lee Soo-yong's UN speech shows that nothing has changed.
I think it was, as we say in English, old wine in new bottles. There wasn't much different about it.
It's a valid point, considering North Korea has threatened the world with rocket launches no fewer than 19 times already this year. Hwang Sang-hee, ARIRANG News.
Meanwhile, Washington says a U.S.-designed missile defense system known as the THAAD may be located in South Korea. But that idea conflicts with what Seoul's military has been saying, leaving the two allies at odds. Connie Kim has more.
A top U.S. defense official has confirmed Washington is mulling over plans to deploy a Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, or THAAD, missile defense battery to a location in the south. Speaking at a forum organized by the Council on Foreign Relations on U.S. Policy in Asia, Deputy Secretary of Defense Robert Work said Washington and Seoul are discussing the option to deter any North Korean nuclear provocations.
We are considering very carefully whether or not to put a THAAD in South Korea. We're doing site surveys. We're working with the government of South Korea now to determine if that is the right thing to do.
The so-called THAAD system is a key part of the U.S. missile defense system that can strike down medium and intermediate-range ballistic missiles in midair. The U.S. official underscored that the deployment, while complicated to set up, will become an important part of regional defense. He also noted that Washington is well aware of the possible backlash involved in deploying the system in South Korea.
We've emphasized to both China and to Russia that these are not strategic anti-ballistic missiles, that they essentially they're essentially designed to address regional threats.
The comments out of Washington are slightly at odds with what South Korea has been saying on the issue. Seoul's National Security Office said last month that there were no agreements in place on bringing in the U.S. system. The potential deployment has some worried in Seoul that the move could be Washington's attempt to get other Asian allies to join its missile defense system. South Korea's defense ministry has previously said it's developing its own low-altitude missile defenses that can intercept North Korean missiles. Connie Kim, ARIRANG News.
Protest leaders in Hong Kong say they are expecting a record number of supporters to come out to the city today with the start of China's National Day holiday. Both the government and activists brace for a showdown. Our Kim Min-ji has the details.
Pro-democracy demonstrations are expected to swell in size on Wednesday with the start of the National Day, which marks the founding of Communist China in 1949. Tens of thousands of people braved heavy rain and thunder overnight to continue what has been dubbed the Umbrella Revolution, an act of civil disobedience that authorities have called illegal. Hong Kong's chief executive rejected calls by student leaders to address the crowd, which he said must be immediately dismantled.
The central government won't be swayed by illegal activities. This illegal protest will not force the central government to go back on its decision on August 31st.
The Hong Kong government attended a ceremony marking the National Day on Wednesday as thousands of protesters shouted for democracy. Demonstrators are demanding two things. They want Leung to step down as chief executive, and they want universal suffrage in Hong Kong's 2017 elections, with Beijing abandoning plans to vet candidates for the post of chief executive. If their demands aren't met, they are considering expanding their occupation of city streets.
If a country does things that are right and its people are convinced, naturally people will come out and celebrate with it on the country's birthday. But now this is not the case. Even though it's National Day, many people are standing up and telling this government, we are not satisfied with you.
Some have voiced concerns that the protest could become a second Tiananmen massacre.
Beijing has a final say in everything in Hong Kong, and Beijing has a record of crackdown on peaceful demonstration with violence. So given China's record, we have no trust at all. And I think the worst thing that would happen is a second Tiananmen massacre.
The large-scale demonstrations which began over the weekend are the worst since China resumed control of Hong Kong from Britain in 1997. Kim Min-ji, ARIRANG News.
Time for our ongoing coverage of the 2014 Incheon Asian Games. For the latest, we go live to, of course, our Song Ji-sun at the News Center. Ji-sun, we've seen countries win medals in unexpected sports throughout the Games, but this bronze snatched by Korea today might just top them all.
Right, Hyun-kyung, we've had to wait 44 good years to see a Korean woman win any top medal in diving at the Asian Games, but it happened earlier today. It was Kim Na-mi who earned a combined 269.85 points to land the bronze medal in the women's 1-meter springboard event just about an hour ago. The ever-dominant diving stronghold China has swept all the golds in the 5 events held in diving so far, including this one. Shooting Mao took the gold at nearly 40 points higher than Kim's final score, with China's Wang Han falling behind.
Kudos to her. I mean, it wasn't a gold, but it's more valuable than any gold medal, in my opinion. But let's move on to another historic match that we are facing tonight, or tomorrow night for that matter. We are in for an all-Korea gold medal match in men's football.
Right, an inter-Korean match. The South is looking for its first gold in football at the Asian Games in 28 years, and the North is looking for its first in 36 years. South Korea on Tuesday night beat Thailand 2-0 in the men's football semifinals Tuesday night, scoring their first in the 41st minute, with Lee Jong-ho heading in a cross by Im Chang-woo. And just minutes later, Captain Chang Hyun-soo slotted home a penalty kick for the host nation. The South Korean squad held on to their lead throughout the second half to advance. They have not let in a single goal in all of their matches here at the ASEAN. Early in the evening, North Korea beat Iraq 1-0 in their semi-final clash. Heading into the gold medal match on Thursday night, South Korean coach Lee Kwang-jung told reporters that the squad's key striker Kim Shin-wook will be able to play in the final after recovering from an injury, while the North's manager Yoon Jung-soo called for a fair judging from the referees in this crucial match.
All right, so the final will be held tomorrow. Now, as for tonight, what events should we be watching? I'm guessing a lot of male fans here in Korea might be curious as to how gymnast Son Yeon-jae is doing.
Right, but that hasn't started yet. It is the first day of competition for rhythmic gymnastics, and Korea's star athlete Son Yeon-jae will soon try out in the individual all-around and a team final as well later on. It's also a busy day in athletics on the track and field, so stay tuned for those events, and also stay tuned to see if South Korea can secure the bronze medal in women's football, while the North will shoot for the gold against their longtime rival Japan. Now, we also have a lot of events in the context events. Although Korean athletes failed to earn a gold in Taekwondo on their first day of competition on Tuesday, they will try again today in 4 different weight categories, with the knockout stages ongoing from this morning.
All right, many thanks, Ji-sun, as always, for following the Asian Games. That was our Song Ji-sun at the News Center. As you just saw there, a new tech giant in Korea's internet service industry has officially been created. With today's official merger, messaging service provider Kakao and net portal Daum zero in on Naver, the #1 market player. Our Hwang Ji-hye has this report.
It's official. Daum Kakao, born through the merger of Korean internet portal operator Daum Communications Corporation and messaging application firm KakaoTalk, launched business on Wednesday. The merger will create the biggest company on the country's tech-heavy KOSDAQ once it's listed in mid-October. Market watchers expect the entity's market cap to reach 10 trillion won, or roughly $9.5 billion, with that of Daum already hovering around $2 billion. That easily surpasses current #1 Celltrion on the secondary bourse, whose market cap stands at around $4.5 billion. Daum and Kakao have been preparing to launch a united entity since May this year when they announced their merger. Kakao has been diversifying its business portfolio, introducing services like Bank Wallet Kakao, a mobile platform that provides small sum financial transactions and mobile payments. Daum has been focusing on its role as a search engine, launching specialized services for better search results. Analysts say Daum Kakao may eventually seek a listing on the country's main bourse after serving out its minimum requirement of 3 years on the KOSDAQ. And Daum Kakao has made clear the merger will mark the start of its full-fledged efforts to emerge as a global communications, information, and life platform provider. It also signals a shift in Korea's internet portal dynamics, currently led by the country's top portal operator, Naver. Hwang Ji-hye, ARIRANG News.
Korea has posted a trade surplus for the 32nd consecutive month in September, with exports rebounding from a contraction in August. The Trade Ministry says the country's outbound shipments came to nearly $48 billion last month, up about 7% from a year earlier. The rise in exports are attributed to strong performance of the main export items such as steel, computers, and machinery. Another notable factor is that exports to China went up for the first time in 5 months. Now, imports recording an 8% jump to roughly $44 billion led to a trade surplus of roughly $3.4 billion. The Japanese yen has hit a 6-year low during Wednesday trading, breaking the psychologically important 110 per dollar mark. Following signs of a gradual economic recovery in the U.S. and expectations of more monetary easing from the Bank of Japan, the yen was trading at 110.07 against the greenback. That's the lowest level since August 2008. The Nihon Keizai Shimbun says investors are selling the yen and buying the dollar on expectations that the interest rate gap between the U.S. and Japan will widen. Roughly 500 million Chinese people are expected to travel in and out of the nation during their Golden Week, the National Day holiday, which starts today. And the number of those traveling to Korea is on the rise as well. Our Kwon So-ah has this story.
Flights have been overbooked and hotels fully reserved by the many Chinese tourists who have chosen to enjoy their National Day holiday this year in Korea. Around 160,000 Chinese visitors are expected to visit the country during the Golden Week from October 1st to the 7th, which is around 35% more compared to the same period last year. Some come to experience the Hallyu or Korean wave, the local scenery, the food, and to shop. In fact, most of their vacation expenditures goes to shopping.
I shop a lot in Korea. I especially buy a lot of makeup. It's cheaper, and using it makes my skin look very natural.
But after the shopping sprees, the question is, would they come again?
Not that many products have been developed that could increase consumption in the cultural field. Chinese tourists are interested in K-pop, but what they are mainly able to do is just buy CDs or T-shirts with their favorite stars.
But if you take a look around, efforts are being made to offer Chinese tourists more. Just in time with the holiday and the Incheon Asian Games, Incheon's Chinatown aims to shift the attention of Chinese tourists away from shopping malls toward other attractions. The Incheon China Culture and Tourism Festival, for example, will open this week under the theme of Korea-China Cultural Exchange, attempting to attract visitors with traditional performances and discounts for events, shops, and restaurants.
Chinatown may seem like an unlikely destination for Chinese tourists, but they are interested in seeing how their people live in Korea. So we're working with travel agencies to attract visitors with special programs, along with the Asian Games.
And with nearly 900 Chinese athletes to cheer for, this year's holiday will be even more special, with cultural festivals taking place outside stadiums. But experts say the tourism industry should be looking ahead for future attractions to bring visitors back in the coming years. Kwon So-ah, ARIRANG News.
This year is the 450th anniversary of William Shakespeare's birth, and to mark that occasion, a special adaptation of Romeo and Juliet will hit the stage here in Korea. Our Park Ji-won got a sneak preview. Take a look.
The Korea National Opera presents the most famous love story of all time, Romeo and Juliet. French composer Charles Gounod wrote the opera version of this tragic yet beautiful story of love, fate, and death. It took him 28 years to complete and premiered in 1867. To mark the 450th anniversary of Shakespeare's birth, the 5-act opera version of his play will take the stage, featuring an international cast along with Australian opera director Elijah Mushinsky, stage designer Richard Hudson, and conductor Julian Kovachev.
Italy, I feel Verona as my home city. I'm so happy to share these wonderful feelings with a Korean public, with a Korean national opera or musician, because it's difficult to put out all these feelings what the composer put, and it is a special color, which is French.
World-renowned Italian tenor Francesco De Muro, Russian soprano Irina Lungu, and Korean opera singers are preparing to put on an intense and emotional performance. The opera will be staged for 4 days from this Thursday to Sunday and will run again during the Daegu International Opera Festival next week. Park Ji-won, ARIRANG News.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome. At the moment, we are enjoying breezy and partly cloudy conditions in most regions, while some areas down south are getting light showers from time to time. Chilly and brisk morning air is in store for the rest of the week, leading to a big gap in temperatures from day to night, so keep that in mind. Other than that, this Friday is National Foundation Day of Korea, and showers are in store for the eastern coast of Gangwon Province, while sunny and clear conditions are forecast for most regions, nice for outdoor activities. Over in Incheon, a daytime high should hit 24 degrees, perfect for tonight's women's football match. Taking a closer look at the readings, Seoul hits 22, Daegu 23, Gwangju 25, Busan 25 as well. On to other places, Jeju makes it to 24, Dokdo 21, Mount Kumgang 14. That's your weather for Korea, and we leave you with the international weather.
And that's all we have for now. More news coming up in about 90 minutes time at 6 p.m. Korea time. I'll see you then.